You open your phone before you've even gotten out of bed. A friend just bought a house. A stranger just got promoted. Someone your age just ran a marathon you couldn't finish in a year of trying. Within 4 seconds before your feet have touched the floor, your entire morning mood has changed. Not because anything happened to you, because something happened to someone else, and your brain treated it like it happened to you too. You didn't choose to feel smaller, it happened before you had a chance to think. This isn't a personality flaw, it isn't proof that you're insecure or ungrateful or bad at being happy for people. What's happening in that 4-second window is one of the oldest systems in your brain, running exactly as designed. The tragedy is that it was designed for a world that no longer exists. For nearly all of human history, comparison wasn't vanity, it was data. Your ancestors lived in groups small enough that everyone's status was visible and constantly shifting. Who had more food? Who had a stronger shelter? Who could run faster from a predator or fight off a rival? Knowing exactly where you stood relative to the people around you wasn't optional information. It was the difference between eating and starving, between mating and dying alone, between being protected by the group and being pushed to its edges. The psychologist Leon Festinger gave this a name in the 1950s, social comparison theory. He proposed that people have a built-in drive to evaluate themselves by measuring against others, especially when no objective standard exists. There's no ruler for confidence, no thermometer for how good your life is going, so your brain builds one anyway out of the nearest available bodies. That system made sense when the nearest available bodies were 30 people you'd known your entire life. Foraging the same hills, facing the same winters, your comparisons were local, slow-moving, and mostly accurate. If your neighbor had more, you actually could get more by working harder, trading smarter, or building alliances. The comparison pointed at something real and something reachable. There was also a built-in ceiling on how bad this could feel. In a tribe of 30, you couldn't lose to all 30 people in every possible category at once. You might be a mediocre hunter but the best storyteller, weak in a fight but strong at building shelter. The pond was small enough that almost everyone found at least one corner of it, where they stood near the top. Status wasn't a single leaderboard. It was many small leaderboards, and most people won at least one. Now open your phone again. The nearest available bodies are no longer 30 neighbors. They're hundreds of millions of curated highlight reels, screened and edited by people who have every incentive to show you only the peak of their lives. Your brain, still running its ancient program, cannot tell the difference between a neighbor's real house and a stranger's filtered photo of a rented one. It registers both the same way, as local data about your own standing, as a signal you're falling behind in the very tribe you're supposedly part of. This is where the ancient system turns against you. It's not built to know that the marathon runner trained for 6 years before their first post went viral. It's not built to discount the promotion you saw, which came after 2 rounds of layoffs the poster never mentioned. Your comparison circuitry evolved to trust what it sees, because for millions of years what you saw was, by necessity, close enough to true. Here's the part almost no one names directly. This isn't just about mood. It's about a specific, measurable neural signal. Neuroscientists have studied something called reward prediction error, largely through the work of researchers like Wolfram Schultz. The idea is simple. Your brain doesn't just register rewards, it registers rewards relative to what it expected. Get exactly what you expected, and the reward signal is flat unremarkable. Get less than someone else got in a similar situation, and the signal drops, sometimes sharply, even if what you received was objectively good. This means your satisfaction was never just about what you have. It's about what you have compared to the nearest reference point. A raise that would have thrilled you last year can feel hollow the moment you learn a coworker got a bigger one. The raise didn't change. Your reference point did. And your brain, without asking your permission, quietly recalculated your happiness downward. Think about how strange that is. You can hold an achievement in your hands, something you worked years for, and have it neutralized in an instant by a single data point about somebody else, not because the achievement changed, because the comparison did. This machinery gets even stranger under one specific condition: proximity. Studies on what researchers call the big fish, little pond effect have found something counterintuitive. Equally talented students often report lower confidence when surrounded by other high achievers than when they're the standout in a less competitive environment. Being objectively excellent isn't what determines how capable you feel. Being excellent relative to your nearest comparison group is move the same person into a different pond, and their sense of their own ability changes even though nothing about their actual skill did. This explains something that used to look like a contradiction. Why do talented, successful people so often feel like frauds? Why does a brilliant student at an elite university sometimes feel dumber than they did in high school, despite being more capable than ever? It's not humility. It's not a mental health condition. It's the oldest math your brain knows, running an old formula against a pond that got a lot bigger and a lot more crowded. Consider two students with identical test scores. One attends a small regional college, where those scores put them near the very top of their class. The other attends a highly selective university, where those same scores are merely average. Same ability, same knowledge, same raw talent, and yet the research consistently finds the first student reports higher academic confidence, more willingness to take risks in their field, and a stronger sense of belonging. The second student, despite attending the more prestigious school, often reports doubt, imposter feelings, and a nagging sense of not being good enough. Nothing about their intelligence changed when they walked through a different door. Only the size and skill level of the surrounding pond did. This is why moving to a bigger city, joining a more competitive company, or following more accomplished people online can quietly erode someone's confidence even while their actual abilities are improving. The instinct isn't measuring your growth, it's measuring your rank, and rank can fall even while every other number is rising, simply because the crowd around you got more impressive faster than you did. Social media didn't invent this instinct, it just broke the mechanism that used to contain it. In your ancestors' world, the comparison pool refreshed slowly. You measured yourself against the same 30 people for years, and mostly the math evened out. Someone had a good season. You had a good season next. The pond was small enough that everyone eventually got their turn near the top of something. Now the pond is everyone all the time, and it never lets anyone win for long, because there's always someone new to see. You can be the most successful person you know in your actual daily life and still feel like you're falling behind, because your brain isn't comparing you to your actual daily life anymore. It's comparing you to a curated slice of 8 billion people, refreshed every time you unlock your phone. So what do you do with a survival instinct that's misfiring in a world it was never built for? You don't get to switch it off. That part isn't up for negotiation. It's structural, wired in by evolution, and no amount of willpower deletes it outright. But you can change what data you feed it, and that changes almost everything. The instinct itself isn't asking you to be better than everyone. It's asking a much narrower, older question. Where do you stand relative to the people right around you? The mistake isn't having the instinct. The mistake is letting a global feed of strangers answer a question that instinct only ever knew how to ask about a village. Shrink the pond deliberately, and the ancient math starts working for you again instead of against you. Compare yourself to who you were last year, not to who someone else is pretending to be tonight. That's still comparison. It just aims the same old machinery at a target it can actually use, one where the information is real, local, and yours. There's a reason this reframe works better than simply telling yourself to stop comparing altogether. Telling an ancient survival instinct to switch off is like telling your hunger to switch off because food is inconvenient right now. It doesn't listen, because it was never designed to listen to reasoning in the first place. It was designed to respond to input, change the input, and the output changes with it without needing a single argument or affirmation. This is also why some of the oldest advice about gratitude journals and personal progress tracking works better than people expect. It isn't a soft, feel-good trick layered on top of the problem. It's a direct intervention into the comparison engine itself. When you write down 3 things that went better this month than last month, you're not overriding your brain's need to compare. You're feeding it a fair fight. You against your own past on a field where the data is complete and the outcome is actually informative. The instinct gets to do its job accurately for once. Contrast that with the modern default where the comparison pool refreshes every few seconds and is stacked entirely with edited outcomes. It's not a fair fight. It was never meant to be won. You are in effect comparing your unfiltered Tuesday to someone else's best possible version of a single afternoon chosen out of hundreds of unposted ordinary ones. The math your brain runs is honest. The data it's fed is not. The marathon runner's 6 years of training didn't happen to you. The co-worker's raise doesn't subtract from your work. The elite classroom full of brilliant people doesn't make you less capable than you were the day before you walked in. Your brain will keep measuring, because measuring is what it has always done. Your job isn't to stop it. Your job is to stop handing it the wrong pond to measure against. You'll still open your phone tomorrow morning, but now you'll know what's actually happening in those 4 seconds, and knowing that changes what you do next.